Hi, how you doing, and welcome back to another video on the channel. What we have for you today is our weekly video where we take a look at the 3 most transferred in players and the 3 most transferred out players in FPL, and we discuss what we would do if we wanted them or if we own them. And this week more than ever, it's an important discussion to have because a lot of people are wildcarding, and we are going to talk about that in our decision making process because it does make a difference if you're wildcarding or not as to which players you can get in and how quickly, and it does affect how valuable they could be for your team. If you are new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. The support has been awesome, and we are a small channel trying to grow, and subscribing is free. So if you can help with that, that would be really appreciated. Let's take a look at player number 1. So the first player on this list is Luis Diaz, and he has been brought in by a whopping 700,000 managers. That's so many, really, especially because he was quite highly owned beforehand. He's got 5 goals and 1 assist, so I absolutely get it. He's a great fantasy league player. Would I buy him in? It kind of depends on whether you think that moment has passed a little bit, because he is someone who could get rotated. But it's a bit like what we were saying in our wildcard video with someone like Calvert-Lewin. He might get injured. Well, until he gets injured, he's not injured and he's going to play. And it's a bit like the same with Luis Diaz. Until he gets rotated, well, he's not getting rotated. And that's not happened yet so far. And it's, people say, oh, well, it might happen next game. And it's also a bit like when players have 4 yellow cards, say, and your advice is, well, don't get them in your team because they're only 1 booking away from a suspension. And then that booking never happens and they play the rest of the season, they score loads of goals and you miss out on the points. So I think the next 2 fixtures are great. I also wouldn't be put off by the price rise. I think it only really matters if you cannot afford him. But the rest of it is a bit psychological, really, because you think, oh, I've missed out on 0.4 million in prices. I could have got him a lot cheaper. Well, if he was priced at 8 million at the start of the season and was still 8 million, you'd say, oh, what a great player. Yeah, I'll get him in. So don't worry about the prices too much unless you're about to get priced out of the move. But I do think he's a great pick for the next 2 weeks. Hope that he doesn't get rotated, and then I maybe would look to move off him as we get later into the season. So the next player we're looking at is Gabriel from Arsenal, and he's another player who's gone up in price and actually a defender on this list. I think it's the first time this season we've had a defender on the list, and he's been bought already by 530,000 managers. He's got 2 goals and 3 clean sheets, which is a better return than some of my strikers in my own FPL team, to be honest, to getting 2 goals. And I completely understand why people are getting him in. Would I get him in? Yeah, I would. I think Arsenal are great. I think he is great. I would temper your expectations as to how many goal returns you think he's going to get, because people do see, 2 goals in 2 games. He's going to score me 15 goals this season. And he's not. I think he's averaging 3 or 4 goals a season. And so, if he's going to revert to the average, he's probably not going to score again for a while. But you wouldn't back him against him not scoring in the next 3 games, to be fair to him. I would get him in for the clean sheets. I think if you are outpriced, because now he's gone from 6 to 6.1 million, I think Saliba is absolutely fine as an alternative option. I wouldn't worry about, missing him out, because I know sometimes with defenders, that 0.1 difference does seem to have a bit more of an impact than the midfielders. So he's a great pick. I would totally recommend getting him in. But I would also recommend getting in any Arsenal defender as well. So don't worry if you can't afford him. There's someone like Saliba or David Raya who could be a great option as well. So the third player on this list is Bryan Mbeumo. I have actually already brought him in. If you've seen my team selection video for this week, you'll know I made an early transfer and I've brought him into my team. He's just a fantastic FPL player. 4 goals in 5 games is a fantastic record because they've played some tough opposition as well. Now the fixtures turn and they get a bit easier. He's potentially an even better option. I would be a little concerned that there's no assists from a creative point of view, but on the good side, FPL do seem to be putting a higher emphasis on goal scoring when it comes to bonus points. So the fact that he is getting on the end of the attacks is great for bonus points as well, because that's that extra little bit that'll help your weekly score. I've got him in. I would recommend you getting him in. He's definitely going to go up in price again this game week. He's already gone up by 0.1, but I think at 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, he's an absolute bargain, especially when you compare him to some of the other midfielders. around that price point. So yes, if you were wildcarding, get him in. If you're not wildcarding, get him in. So the next player on our list, and we're actually going to begin our most sold list here, is Alexander Isak, being sold by 420,000 managers already. He's only got 1 goal and 1 assist, and until the Fulham game, that didn't look too bad. 2 attacking returns in 4 games isn't the end of the world. I know he's quite expensive for a striker, but when you look at how expensive all the midfielders are, and we also, we talk about the emphasis on bonus points for attacking returns for goals, having a striker at this price isn't the end of the world. I do own him, and I'm not selling him. I've got rid of Anthony Gordon. I don't want a double Newcastle attack. I'm not that keen on Newcastle. But I think if you already own Alexander Isak and you haven't sold him, I would just hang on to him, because at the end of the day, he's now turning into a bit of a differential. And he's I know Man City might not get an attacking return, but he's could easily get a couple of goals against Everton, and then everyone's going to have them on their wish lists for the next few game weeks with the Brighton game. Chelsea aren't a great defence. Yeah, you got Arsenal, but then Forest, West Ham, Palace. He's not got the worst fixtures in the world. So I think if you're wildcarding, I think, yeah, you could sell him because it might free up some funds elsewhere, and that Man City game doesn't look great. If you're not wildcarding, I wouldn't sell him. So the next player on this list is Diogo Jota, and I just see sort of comparisons with Luis Diaz here. He's been sold by a lot of managers, about 410,000 managers so far this game week. And at the start of the season, everyone was so high on Jota. You absolutely had to get him in your team, and he got a goal and assist in the first 2 game weeks, and then everyone rushed him in, and then he's not done anything since, and he's got rotated in the last game week, and then all of a sudden he's a must sell. If you're on a wild card, yeah, I completely understand why you would sell him. It's not really a problem. But I think it depends on who you're getting him in for, or who you're swapping him with. Because with Luis Diaz right now, he is Jota from a few weeks ago. So he's 1 rotation and a blank away, is Luis Diaz, from everyone saying, oh no, you need to sell him, his rotation risk, he's gone off form. And I think just check those expectations a little bit when you're getting in players on a bit of a knee-jerk decision. Someone like Jota, yeah, I would sell him, but I'm not surprised that he's got rotated and, his minutes are inconsistent. We knew that going into the start of the season, so I would just take that experience from Jota if you're selling him and just apply that to when you're buying in players on a bit of a knee-jerk in the future. So the last player on this list is João Pedro, and again, he's a bit like Jota. He's someone who everybody rushed to get in a few weeks ago, and you could say rightly so. You look like a good option, and it's a bit different to someone like Jota because João Pedro got injured, which wasn't part of the plan. It's not like he was a bad FPL pick. He's just been unlucky, and you've been unlucky because he's got injured. I would sell him. I don't like Brighton's fixtures. I think they're really difficult, and I think it's quite easy to move from him to someone like a Calvert-Lewin, maybe even a Chris Wood. There's some good strikers around that price point. So he's been sold by 280,000 managers, and I do understand why. If I owned him, I would make that sideways switch to a Calvert-Lewin, say, and then, I move on with my season, and we look at making some more moves later down the line. So that's the 3 players from the most transferred in and most sold. Let me know what you think. Are you thinking of, making any of these transfers? Have you got any of these players in your team already that you're thinking of moving out? Or are you struggling to work out how to get some of those most transferred in players into your team? Do write in the comments, if you want any sort of transfer discussion, that'd be awesome. Please do like and subscribe. The support has been appreciated all season long. Go check out our wildcard video and my team selection video. Links should be on the screen right about now, and I will see you in the next one.